Hi, my name's Danny, and obviously I wasn't actually just running. I just set up the camera, then ran over there, and then came back over here and acted like I was running. Everything you see on the internet it's fake, so thought I would break that to you. But running regularly is something I've always wanted to have a good habit of, but I've never really been able to make that habit stick. And I think up until recently, I didn't really know why. Because I was like, man, I've got the motivation, I've got the drive, I want to do this. So why is it so hard to actually do it? So that's what I want to talk about today. We can make goals all we want, but goals often don't work, and there's a certain reason for that. So we're gonna talk about that today. But before we get started, there is one thing I wanted to say. I have a challenge for you. Real quick, before this video starts, pause it right now and comment below, what is your big goal for 2022? Something big that you want to accomplish. And then at the end of the video, we're gonna revisit that comment and we're gonna add something to it. So if you don't comment, the whole video is pointless. So go ahead and do it, no biggie. Okay, for real, let's get on with the video.
Oh, hey, how's it going? Yeah, last time I saw you, you were talking about all these goals and New Year's resolutions that you had. How's that going? Oh, you quit all of them? In February? That sounds like it didn't work at all. And that's because it doesn't. It just doesn't work. How many of your New Year's resolutions from last year are you keeping up with today? If you're brave, share it in the comments. But you probably won't have much to share in the comments because the answer is probably 0. Setting goals for the new year and making New Year's resolutions is a great thought, okay? I'm all for it. I'm all for being ambitious and trying to push ourselves or whatever. But there's a major reason why none of your New Year's resolutions are working and why they don't really, in general, work for most people. And today I want to talk about that. Okay, the plan for today is we're going to talk about why New Year's resolutions and goals don't really work. We're going to talk about what does work and then how you can do what does work. Hopefully that sounds great, and all I ask for in return is that you make a New Year's resolution to smash that like button. Yeah, that's right. That's a great resolution. I think it's something you can probably deliver on. So I would just go for it, Start the new year strong. Okay, let's talk about why setting goals doesn't work. I think a great quote to open up this section with is, a goal without a plan is just a wish. So it's not really that the process of making New Year's resolutions or setting goals doesn't work. It can work. It's more so that most people who do that don't finish the process. So then those New Year's resolutions and those goals really aren't complete, and then they don't work. It's kind of like if you toss out some idea like, hey, let's go to the park. That's great. That's like a goal, to go to the park. But you never got in the car to go to the park. You didn't give your goal of going to the park what it needed to be more than just a goal. So then at the end of the day, it was just a wish. For instance, you can say that your new goal is to save more money from every single paycheck you're making, and that's great. That's a really awesome goal. But most likely nothing's gonna change, and you'll probably keep spending more than you want to, because that's just a goal, and a goal isn't what you use to accomplish a goal. Hopefully that makes sense. If you wanted to actually save more money, well then there are things you would have to change. You would need to make a budget. You need to take a look at what you're spending, where your inflows and outflows are, and figure out what's really going on there. Basically the whole point here is setting a goal isn't gonna get you to the goal, and that's why most goals that people set fail. So while setting goals is awesome, I think it's still a great thing to try to do. It's not how you make change, or at least not change that's going to last. So let's talk about how you can make those New Year's resolutions and make those goals that will actually work. Oh, also real quick, if saving money is one of your new goals, I have a sick downloadable template for budgeting that you may really like. It's the same template that helped me save $35,000 in about 9 months. And it is available to you on my Patreon. Oh, and also getting this template also helps support the channel so I can make more videos just like this. So if that sounds cool to you and you think you might get value out of my budgeting template and other templates available on my Patreon, then check out the link in the description. Okay, so instead of making goals, what should you do? Great question. So glad you asked. You should make systems instead. In one of my favorite books, it's called Atomic Habits, it's by Jame Clear, he said, you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Have you ever seen someone say they have a new goal of waking up early and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna be up every day by 5 a.m. and I'm just, they start out, they're super pumped, and then, you give it a couple days, they start losing steam, and then maybe they'll last a week. But usually that new goal, that new habit that they're trying to set doesn't stick. Okay, so what happened? It's not that they were, lazy per se, or that they didn't really want to wake up early. Instead, it's because their internal system wasn't built for them to succeed at waking up early. All right, let me break it down like this. Okay, so we have a goal. We're starting with the goal of wanting to wake up early. But in order for that goal to sustain itself, it needs a system to help it be successful. Most people who fail at goals like wanting to wake up earlier have internal systems like this. They go to bed too late, they drink too much caffeine, they're on their phone right up until the moment where they go to bed, and then they wonder why it's so hard for them to fall asleep. A goal like waking up earlier can't happen without a solid system to support it. Ideally, the system should be doing the brunt of all the hard work. If you have a solid system, then any goal that you want to accomplish really should be the easy part. So what does a system that supports waking up earlier look like? I am so glad you asked. A system that supports waking up earlier looks like having a regimented bedtime routine. It looks like limiting your consumption of caffeine, and it looks like screen time boundaries so you're not exposing your brain to blue light right before you go to bed. I talked about this in another video before, and I'll link it up here, but pretty much exposing your brain to your screen, your phone, it produces blue light and it stops your brain from producing melatonin, which makes it more difficult for you to fall asleep. And if you see that right before you go to bed, it might be difficult to go to sleep. But having a system like what I just named off would make waking up earlier in the morning kind of easy. And that's the whole allure to systems and why you need to aim for systems instead of goals. Okay, let's talk about why systems work and how you can make systems. Okay, hypothetically, let's say your goal is to consume more great, crispy self-help content. Well, a great system that you could put in place would be to subscribe to this channel and turn on post notifications, because then you know that the self-help content is coming to you. Isn't that great? Beautiful system that you can implement right now. Gosh, isn't that just, it's wonderful, really. Anyway, picture this. You have a goal of driving cross country, but you have no gas in your car. So in this example, the gas is your system. Regardless of how badly you want to drive cross country, without the gas, it can't happen. Systems work because they are the intentionality behind a goal. So how do you make your own systems? Great question. Let me talk to you about a few that I've made for myself. Okay, so I'm naturally a very stiff person, but not in the way that like I'm stiff as if I don't like jokes or that I'm not fun. Most people actually call me Danny, the super fun guy who is not stiff Dovell. It's just what they call me. I can't help what they call me. That's their choice. It's on them. Okay, but no, I'm naturally very stiff, so it's important to me to be stretching every single day. So the goal was to stretch. So I thought to myself, how can I make a habit of stretching every day as easy as possible? What system do I need around stretching to just make it happen? So I reverse engineered from what I wanted. So I thought, when I'm stretching, what do I do? What do I need? Well, I'm laying on a yoga mat, and before that, I lay my yoga mat out, and before that, I grab my yoga mat out from my closet. So then the answer was simple. If I wanted a system where stretching was easy, I decided that every single night before I go to bed, I will take my yoga mat and lay it down on my floor. So that way, when I get up the next morning, the first thing I see is my yoga mat. And that removes all of the barriers that I previously had to stretching. Now, the yoga mat is there. Let's stretch. Okay, here's another one. I like to have my coffee first thing in the morning while I'm doing my devotions. And I don't want to touch my phone until after I'm done doing my devotions. So here's the system that I built. Every single night before I go to bed, I take an empty mug and I place it under my Keurig, and then I take a new K-cup and I place it in my Keurig. This way, when I get up in the morning, all I have to do is close the lid on the Keurig and click one button, and boom, I've got my coffee. And the second part of my goal was that I didn't want to be on my phone before I did my devotions, so I built a new system where I charge my phone outside of my room. So when I get up in the morning, the coffee's super easy to make and my phone isn't even around me, so it's not a distraction. That system sets me up for success with the goal I had.
Okay, here's the part in the video that I told you about in the beginning. So my challenge to you is to go to your first comment, click reply on that first comment, and then reply to yourself with what the system is that you're going to use to accomplish that first goal. I will be doing this as well, so check the comments and you'll find mine too.
Now, hopefully you're seeing that without a system, goal setting is kind of pointless because the goals really aren't going to get accomplished without that backbone to support them. But don't let this discourage you from setting goals. Setting goals is still a great thing to do, but instead of just setting them, pair them with something that can support them. Anyway guys, that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. If this video brought you any value, please don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and then always comment for the algorithm. And I'll see you guys next time.